Okay, let's move on. So we have our next amazing speaker. It's Janelle Estes. She's Chief Insights Officer from UserTesting. Our talk is Empathy, the Marketer's Secret to Exceptional CX. Again, don't forget, Q&A icon, bottom of your screen, click to enter your questions. So Janelle, if you're there, over to you. Again, you've got exactly 99 seconds.
Okay, great. Thank you. So 75% of organizations think they're customer-centric. However, only 30% of customers actually believe that to be true. And what this shows is a strong mismatch between what organizations think they're delivering and what they're actually delivering. And this is what we call the empathy gap. And the reason why it exists is because companies don't truly understand their customers or the humans that engage with them. And without that understanding, they're bound to miss the mark. Your brand is one of the very first impressions someone has with your organization. So how do you ensure that you're making an authentic connection with your customers? You put yourself in their shoes. And how do marketers usually do that? They design personas, they create segments, they lean on buyer profiles, a name, age, location, and even an income is chosen for them. But that's not practicing genuine customer empathy. And unfortunately, these frameworks are built on assumptions and not true customer understanding. To build an exceptional experience, organizations must put the real voice of their customers at the center of it. The brands that practice genuine and thoughtful customer empathy are the ones that stand out a mile from the ones that simply believe that they're customer-centric. At UserTesting, we work with brands to build customer empathy-driven cultures powered by human insight. And up next, you're going to hear from one of our customers who is doing just that.
So now, perfect timing, under 99 seconds. So we'll go straight in now, as you said, to all your customers. Ask Justin Bakovi, who's Chief Product Officer at Your MD. Justin, you have again 99 seconds. Janelle did it. Let's hope you can too. Over to you.
Great. Hi, I'm Justin Bakovi. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Your MD. We're the self-care app that is on a mission to help 1 billion people live happier, healthier lives. Happy to be here along with such great talent and minds. And I wanted to share with you today some insights on how we dial into empathy with our users, not necessarily to let them dictate our product roadmap, but to help shape our product positioning, as well as the features or themes that we need to build or change. Health right now is obviously the biggest global concern, be it physical or mental. And so for us, it's important that even though our vision might be 3 years away in terms of our product, we have to capture the hearts and minds of the here and now for our users and land them in a familiar territory that's aligned to their expectations. In these challenging times, we find humanity looking for new solutions. People are taking things into their own hands, and that includes their health and self-care. We're not only pivoting our product, but embarking on a deep dive into our brand. So we need to speak to these people and understand their pains. We can't do focus groups or traditional meetups or spend months embarking on like meeting up with people and bringing them into a locale. So we use live conversation in the UserTesting platform to connect to our users over video, one-on-one, where we can read their physical emotions, facial expressions, and more. And we put products, prototypes, and brand messaging in front of these users before going to market. And we get validation and we get results instantly. And this settles for us internal bottlenecks in product development, but it gives us more validation that we might have previously had to wait months for via traditional methods in a pre-COVID world. I hope I'm just on time there.
Oh, you had 3 seconds there. Amazing work. Superb, fantastic. So great talks, nicely integrated. Obviously, this is such a hot area, CX and empathy. Empathy was a phrase used quite a lot yesterday, actually, interesting enough. So let's dig in some questions. These questions will be out to either of you. First of all, from another shy attendee, Anonymous, is the empathy gap as much to do with an organization's lack of honest, in brackets, understanding about itself as it is knowing their customers?
Can I jump in on that one? It's a great question. And I think that I think they go hand in hand. I think you deep dive into your users and customers and you frame the honesty of your organization appropriately. You know, you're only as honest as your best intentions. And I think that's an ongoing challenge for building products and marketing is, you know, how deep do you go? We are in times now where I feel that this is more important than ever. You know, and that's what I was saying is that you have to reach out and be empathetic because people want to be heard. And that's been borne out by all the social stuff you've seen recently in the news, I guess.
Fantastic, superb. Okay, the next question I've got here is from Martin, who asks, surprise, surprise, what are the most interesting changes in this area you've seen during COVID, and do you expect these to continue?
If I could jump in for this one. So what I've seen to be really interesting during this time is, quite honestly, companies are no longer able to really meet their customers in person. You know, traditional focus groups, one-on-one interviews, intercepting people in a coffee shop, all of these tactics that we've used are really no longer available to us. And so I've seen a massive shift to connecting with customers remotely. So, you know, the live conversation is something that Justin talked about, but also I just see this across the board and across the industry. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And quite honestly, I think people have found that they're able to make that same authentic connection remotely, especially with technologies like Zoom or GoToMeeting, where you can actually see someone's face and make that, you know, human to human connection. So I guess the big change that I've seen is a shift from traditionally in-person methods to remote and online.
I guess this question is quite related. Kieran asks, when it comes to empathy and how brands interact with their customers, what are the most interesting differences across different platforms? I'm assuming it means across mobile or across online, or, you know, different ways of interacting. How does empathy change?
I think I don't necessarily think it necessarily changes with the platform inherently. In terms of what we do in user experience, there are obviously fundamentals that are attributable and different across different platforms, but the core, like, jobs to be done function will always be the same regardless of what you're using. And so I think that for me, the dialing into empathy is across all of those. I don't see it as a differentiator, really.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think we have to stop thinking about the customer experience and building empathy by channel or by, you know, platform. It's just one cohesive journey in the customer's mind and in the customer's eyes. So I wholeheartedly agree with Justin there.
Great. Now, next one's from Leslie, and she or he asks, is empathy a viable strategy for a scale-up brand that's previously prioritized growth? Good question.
Got to play a role in there somewhere. You know, it's a battle. You know, you want to grow, you've got to reach out to your users. You've got to see it as I see it as an integral driver for sure. And it is that constant, you know, struggle between the two, between ramping up numbers and ramping up meaning and value. It's a challenge for sure.
But they also very much go hand in hand. You're not going to ramp up growth and numbers without actually providing value. And the only way to know value is to really understand what your customers need and want.
Okay, question here from Katrina, something being asked constantly, is what brands do you think have done a good job in this regard over the last 3 months? I mean, we heard Asmita from Heinz earlier talking about the fact that they didn't want to jump on a bandwagon and come out. We've seen so many brands sort of running into trouble with, you know, blackwashing announcements, or Jerry Dakin that started yesterday talking about how brands can get it wrong when they try and engage with the BAME community or the, you know, the gay community. So how can people, you know, how people go forward?
I just want to jump in there and actually what I've seen, not necessarily calling out specific brands, but the themes of inaction or action quickly have resonated with me more than the actual brands themselves. So those that have been able to immediately come out and make an authoritative statement have meant more to me than the brands that have waited in the wings and really, you know, wondered what to do and everything else, which might be the right thing. But just for me personally, I felt that those who've come out and done and action things have been the winners for me.
Vic, this is quite a good question. Vic asks, I suppose, directly related to that, she asks, or he asks again, sounds great what you're saying is act quickly, but there's no way I could have convinced my company to do something so soon. I guess the point is, you know, not every brand can act as fleet of a small startup.
No, and many have gone on their social platforms and actually had the dialogue on their podcast and actually said, look, we didn't know what to do. we only saw something happen on Instagram, and we didn't feel that we had a voice. It is challenging, and I think it's deeply personal as well to everyone, the recipient of what you're looking at and what you're absorbing.
Yeah, and I would say some of the work that we've done at UserTesting, we actually asked consumers, around their expectations, and 95% of the people in our study expected expect your organization to say something. So silence is just, it's not an option, unfortunately.
Well, I think we're out of time. And Janelle and Justin, great joint names for presenting. Janelle and Justin, great talks and really great answers. You generated lots of interest. So thanks so much for your time. Hope to see you again very soon. Now we're moving on to Amy Kelly. She's the Director of EMEA UserTesting. Amy, you have 99 seconds starting now.
So ask yourself, do I really know my customers? It sounds simple enough to speak to customers, but you'd be surprised by how many campaigns are actually launched without considering the voice of the customer. According to the CX industry report from 2020, it's 50% of marketing campaigns that are not tested. As marketers, we try to understand our audience through NPS scores, engagement data, survey data, but we now have an opportunity to open our eyes and listen and see that there are more effective ways for us to truly learn and understand our audience. Getting feedback doesn't have to mean conducting time-intensive market research or planning really expensive focus groups that take weeks. Today, you can get on-demand human insights about all of your marketing campaigns in a matter of hours via the UserTesting platform. Because business is human. Insights drive innovation. Marketers need to tap into the human perspective to make those smart marketing decisions. We need to innovate now through listening to real people. In the past, we've relied heavily on big data to help us paint the picture of who our customer is and how they act online to inform how we then market to them. But how do they feel and what are they even saying when they're looking at your brand? So I now invite all of you to join this movement to incorporate the voice of your customer into your marketing. Reach out to me or anyone else from UserTesting that's at the event to find out how loads of brands are already doing that just now and launch that next campaign with confidence. Thank you.
Amy, amazing timing. Well done. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.